Hi everyone, Vacha here from Recording Studio 9 and thanks for joining me again today. And in today's video I thought I'll introduce you another great fantastic YouTube channel which talks about all about audio, recording, production and everything else in between. And recently I had the opportunity to actually interview Adam from Real Home Recording and this is what he had to say. So please do visit his channel because he's got over probably 400 or 500 videos talking about music production. So there's lots of great ideas and lots of new things that you might learn on top of what you've learned here on my channel. So I would highly recommend, because he's been on YouTube for a very long time, I believe since 2011. So that's about 3 years longer than me. So I hope you do visit him and see what he's got as well. I will leave the link on the video as well as probably on the description below for you to follow. He's got lots of playlists on different topics and subjects about audio production. So without any further ado, let's watch the interview. Well, Adam, thanks for joining me today for this interview to know a little bit more about Real Home Recording Studio and maybe Adam as well.
Thanks for inviting me on, Vache.
You're most welcome. It took a while to get together, but all the long distance, even though with all of this, technology we have, I guess we can't still fix up the time because I'm in Sydney, Australia, and you're all the way in US. But I do appreciate the time giving, your time giving here to for me to ask you a few questions so that my YouTube channel viewers and subscribers get to know you as well, because I've known you for quite a long time. I think I was watching your YouTube channel before I started my YouTube channel, and maybe you were an inspiration as well to start it up. So can you tell us a little bit more, maybe, I guess Real Home Recording started after Adam. So can you tell us maybe a little bit more Adam and his background?
Okay, so I actually got involved in media production when really at a young age. I guess I got it was like a General Electric tape recorder, so it had a built-in little like electric condenser microphone, like nothing fancy, just like a really like a $50 tape player that could record off the radio, and I could also record myself. And I mean, really my fascination with audio started then. And one thing I love to do with that thing is if you held the pause button halfway, it would slow down the tape, and then my voice would sound like a chipmunk. And I love that. And it wasn't a built-in feature or anything. It was just something I discovered because, you would hit pause when you're recording, and all of a sudden your voice would start sounding like a chipmunk. And I thought that was hilarious as a little kid,
Oh, it absolutely would have been.
Oh, by the way, I want to apologize in advance. I do have a little cough right now because the seasons are changing, and it happens.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. Well, there's a thing called technology where we might be able to cut them out. Video editing.
Okay.
Yes. So how did you get into... Yeah, continue. Go on.
Okay, so then once I entered high school, I got more into recording videos and also doing what's now known as podcasting. Back then, it was a Real Player G2, I remember.
Yes, definitely remember.
So internet radio, I still call it an internet radio show.
Yeah.
Podcasting is an Apple word. They tried to take something that was already in existence, people uploading internet shows, internet radio shows, and streaming them as well. So all that stuff was going on in the 90s. This video streaming didn't happen until recently.
Yes,
but
funny enough, actually,
but just audio streaming has been in existence. I believe what really propelled it was Shoutcast.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yes.
Which was made by the people who make Reaper.
Yes, yes. Funny enough, actually, Real Player and Real Media, they still exist.
Really?
Yes, they still do.
Man, that's like MySpace, basically. They still exist, but nobody uses it, really.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Or they do it. Maybe some people still do. I haven't used Real Player, man, 2001.
Yeah, but Real Player actually, you know, even though this is out of topic, but Real Player was one of the major players for online streaming, for starting with
Yep.
audio and then into video, and
That's
so
right.
on. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
I mean they back during the 56K modem days, and even slower if you were unfortunate. You know, having a 5 megabyte video file, you know, that was 15 frames per second or less, with really bad audio, you know, a little bit above like phone quality, was absolutely essential. Otherwise, people wouldn't bother downloading your videos.
That's right.
So,
yeah.
Real Player definitely was a pioneer in that. From my, I think Real Networks is actually the name of the company.
That's
but,
correct. Yes.
Either way, I owe a lot of gratitude towards them for, you know, providing free encoding way back when.
Yes. Yes. So, how did you start Real Home Recording? What was the the idea and the thing behind Real Home Recording?
So I started it for two reasons. Number one, I actually wanted to eventually write a book about audio engineering, and I thought if I started a YouTube channel, I could, you know, kind of grow an audience and it would be an easier sell. But eventually what I realized is, as much as I love books, nobody reads books these days. And plus, when you teach audio, it's very hard to teach audio with just words on paper or words on screen. Yeah,
especially when audio is something practical, where you really have to put your fingers on the knobs and adjust and play around with. So
yep, and I said that way back when. I said, you know, the best thing you can do, you know, obviously I love people watching the videos, but you really have to put this stuff into practice, and you have to experiment for yourself. And, you know, do you know what the golden rule in audio engineering is?
You tell me.
There are no rules.
Yes.
And to just, there used to be a rule with Redbook CDs, like, you know, don't go over a certain level or that'll be rejected. But you know what? People have been doing that, you know, so like there's really, whatever you can think of. I mean, people mangle audio, they make it sound pristine, either on purpose or by accident. You know, so that's the one thing I always tell people is like, you know, just pretend like Real Home Recording and all the other channels like this, like Real Home Recording, don't exist, because that's how things were way back when. Like it was just they had to see, does this work? Does this microphone sound good with this? Does this EQ or compressor sound good with that? I mean, yeah, there are, you know, like kind of certain compressors, certain EQs that work well with certain material, but there's brand new tools popping up all the time, so you don't know what's good. And even the plug-in emulations may not sound exactly like the real hardware, so you had to see. Like one thing that I was shocked by was the LA2A emulation by IK Multimedia. Sounds really good on snare drum, and that is not true with the hardware.
I actually haven't had the chance to see. I've seen it in one of the big studios, which is local here, but I haven't actually used it or seen it being used, because I just went visiting the studio and I've seen, you know, he had 3 of them there sitting, but yeah, I haven't seen it, so I don't have personal experience with LA2. So yeah.
Neither do I. And actually, the one guy that has, he said that it's actually brighter, and he prefers the Tube Tech CL1B or whatever it's called.
All right. Okay. Yeah.
So I found that kind of interesting, which is, you know, if you think about it, all this older gear was made back in a time when tapes had like more of a dull tone to them. You know, they weren't like hi-fi. Yep. So like digital is.
Yep. Yep.
So it kind of makes sense that like microphones were brighter, tube compressors were brighter, you know. So
because tape had hiss, and then to compensate for hiss, you need a brighter source. So when you bring down the bright source, you bring down the tape hiss with it, and that's how I did. You know, I still have my 4-track Yamaha MT3X 4-track machine that I did my first ever cassette album, and I still have that. So, and that's how I always did, make sure that it's brighter coming in, so that when I turn them down, it turns down the tape piece as well. So yeah.
Yep, very smart.
Now
very smart.
You started your YouTube channel back in 2011. So
correct.
How many videos you have out there now?
See, I don't really like saying how many videos I have, because a lot of the videos are like very short ones where it's just like, I don't really like to count them.
Yeah.
But realistically, I mean, the practical number is 800, but realistically, I would say 500 like in-depth ones or like really useful, because I like to upload some videos where it's like just announcing a live broadcast. I don't count them, you know.
Yeah. So I guess we're talking about I guess we are talking about, you know, things that are informative, educative demonstration of how things are done, how to do something, and all of those things.
Right, along with gear reviews, software reviews, and interviews.
Yeah, so that's a lot of videos.
Go ahead.
Yeah, that's a lot of videos, a lot of time.
Yeah, it is. I would say at one point I was putting out 3 a week, sometimes daily, Monday through Friday. But then, like recently, I just don't have free time because I've been really focusing more on conjuring up business. Also, I started working with somebody on that, and so they're helping with. That's why I made that video a couple weeks ago. I was like, one of the best things you can do, and if you look at like Dave Pensato, for example, he got hooked up with Herb, is his name, right? His manager.
Yep.
You know, and Herb, while Dave is mixing or recording or whatever he's doing, Herb is getting new business. Yes. And, you know, because you can't be making phone calls or sending out emails while you're mixing. You know, you just can't do that. Like, if you're taking a break, yeah, you can do that. But I'm saying, like, if you're going at it, the man hours, it's not going to happen for you. Yeah. So one of the best things I've done in this past year is hook up with somebody who is, you know, good at talking with people on the phone, good at emailing people, and just conjuring up business, because I have all this equipment, video, photography, audio, and no clients, you know, or just not enough clients. So, you know, that's my advice. Anybody who's looking to do this as a business, get yourself a salesperson / manager.
Yep. Yeah, definitely agree with that one. Now, outside the real home recording and the YouTube channel, what other work you do? I mean, as you mentioned, you're just starting, you know, to put more attention into the business side of recording. I know you had quite a few videos on video production as well, not just audio. So is that something you normally do as your day job?
Yeah, that's my primary income, is from video and photography. You know, I haven't really mixed music primarily in like the past year or two. I started recording like a couple friends, but like that kind of fell through. And as I say, I'm not going to pull teeth to volunteer. You know what I mean? Like, it's like if you don't appreciate my volunteering, I'm not gonna like. I've tried calling and and it's like, it's not worth it, man. So you know, what I've found out is there's actually more demand, at least where I live. There's more demand for recording services. You know, and unfortunately, back when I did do a lot of recording, excuse me, somebody actually stole some stuff from the studio, and it was not my house where the studio was. And so they were like, all right, you know, like, we don't know, like, we got away with stuff for a while. And I mean, luckily it wasn't anything like super expensive, but it was like, all right, we can't be having strangers here anymore. And so like, I haven't recorded really a lot since then. You know, because it's just, it's almost like you had to have a commercial facility to, you know, to make something. Yeah. But then people don't even want to. They like $20 an hour almost is like too much for people. So actually, I've changed that recently. Not to give any secrets away, but that's actually recording. Recording is, at least for me, where there's money still. Yeah.
Yeah, so. I mean, a lot of people think that, you know, recording is, especially when you say, you know, I'm a home recording studio, or I'm not a big budget studio here, multi-million-dollar facility. It's just a small facility that I can record, singer-songwriters or have a small band, 3-4 piece band, and those sort of things. They sort of realize, $20, $30. You go, no, that's per hour. And they go, oh, okay, what, 2 hours? It's only 2 minutes, or let's say they go, it's only a 4-minute song. Why would it take 4 hours to record? And you just go...
Right, and actually here's...
a thing called preparation, and, there's lots of communication and arrangement that needs to happen, and then the number of takes you got to do because you make a mistake. Yeah, yep. I do understand how it is.
Here's some more advice for people who are relatively new. Don't waste your time on the phone with and a lot of back and forth emails unless people put money down, because there are a lot of tire kickers out there, and there are a lot of people who try to get free advice. And I give out free advice on this channel, or I'm sorry, I'm thinking this is your video. Yeah. I give free advice on real home recording a lot, but it's different when you're calling me, where I have a business, I have prices, definitely get a deposit. I like to call it a retainer, because apparently, legally, a retainer is money you can't get back. Like deposits, legally, people can. So I always call it a retainer. Yep. So I get money down, because if people aren't willing to put money down, they're wasting your time.
That's right.
Honestly, they're wasting your time.
Yep. Well, for some reason, your video has actually stopped. I have only a smile of you, but that's fine.
No!
But that's fine. We can still hear you nice and clear. So, yeah. That it's really, really frustrating. And I'm sure especially if that is part of your business that you're trying to set up and make money and make a living of, it must be much, much harder. Because for me, it's a hobby. And making the money on the side, it really helps for me to purchase new equipment and new things and so on. But I guess in a lot of cases, if this is where you are planning to make a living, you just have to make sure that you get paid.
Yeah, I would not right now in the current business climate, at least in the United States, I would not open a big commercial facility unless you're rich, because the clients just aren't there. Now, my main customers are actually other businesses, or nonprofit groups. Like I rarely do business these days with individuals, just because of the tire kicking mentality, people not paying their bills. It doesn't even matter if you withhold their material these days. They'll come in, they'll record something, they'll get photography done, and then they'll just forget about you. So you better make sure, again, the retainer, and then when you're actually doing the recording, before you start setting up anything, and this goes for photography, video, or audio, get your second payment then and there. And then almost assume you're not going to get your final payment ever. So make sure that your first third and your second third are enough money to sustain your business.
Yes, it is important, because even if let's say the material you recorded, they didn't pay, and you say, well, you're not getting it, you still lost a lot of your time. Yep. They haven't lost anything, except you've got the time that you put in, it's all gone, where you could have actually doing something that would have been paid. Yes, that's a very good advice.
And the other thing, I mean, this happened when I first started. All this stuff came from making many mistakes over the years, and also reading from other people too. And what happened a few times was I would do pre-production meetings. Not take money up front, and then the people just wouldn't show up. And it's like, thanks for wasting my time. And then you never hear from them again. Yeah. They don't answer your phone call. They don't answer your emails. So, like I said, people who are serious will put money down. As long as you have your song samples up. If somebody wants me to give them recommendations, like people who've worked with me in the past. If they want to email them or call them, I have people that they can call or email and say, yeah, I worked with Adam and he did a great job. You know, I have that. So there's no reason, like I always tell people, McDonald's doesn't give you the food until you fork over the cash.
That's right. You pay and then you get the food delivered.
But I will say this, another thing you can do, this is what I've done a couple times and it's worked out. If a band's big enough, and by that I mean like they got a bunch of Facebook likes, Twitter followers, YouTube, whatever it may be. If they're a serious band and they already have a decent following, help them make a Kickstarter video. It doesn't matter if you shoot on your cell phone or if you have professional equipment like I do. Help them make a Kickstarter because their fans will pay for their album.
Yes.
You know, because they want to basically pre-order the CD or download or whatever. And that's a way for you to make sure you can get paid if the band doesn't already have enough money for that. It's really sad, though, because somebody was talking about this before, and a lot of this has to do with the economy being so bad that people who used to be, you know, who were just independent musicians are working very, either they're not working at all or they are working for very low wages and they just don't have the extra money to spend, which of course then leads them to try to record themselves or mix themselves or what have you. So that's really where we are with that. And also, just so many people. I mean, I've had so many jobs where it was gonna have. This is why I say get money up front, because then once people put money down, they almost feel obligated to go through with it. And even if they don't, they've already given you money, so it's like kind of like whatever. But I'm talking like, you know, weeks of pre-production, talking on the phone, emails back and forth, and then it's like, hey man, sorry to waste your time, but like one of my buddies like offered to record me or mix me for free. And I'm like, what the? So just like I said, tire kickers.